All right, if you're a seasoned leader in finance or banking, you know you've paid your dues. You've got decades of experience under your belt. But here's a tough question. What if the way you talk about that experience is actually getting your resume tossed out before a real person even lays eyes on it? Well, today, we're going to break down exactly how to reposition your leadership so you can finally land those C-suite roles you've earned. Okay, I want you to just think about this number for a moment. 6 seconds. That's it. That is the average time it takes for an applicant tracking system, the ATS bots, to scan your resume and just reject it. We're talking decades of your hard-won experience dismissed in less time than it takes to read a sentence. So the big question is, why? How is this even possible? Well, here's the answer, and it's a real gut punch for a lot of execs. It is not because you're not qualified. It's because the language on your resume is accidentally flagging you as, well, dated. You're not dealing with a skills gap here. You're up against a positioning gap. The problem isn't what you've done. It's that these algorithms are just misreading your incredible experience as old, all because of a few simple words and phrases. So let's dive right in and get specific. What are these traps exactly? We're about to walk through the 4 biggest mistakes that trigger these resume-killing filters. Seriously, once you see them, you can start fixing them. Okay, here's the big 4. First up, tenure-based positioning. That's when you lead with something like 25 years of experience. Big mistake. Second, dated regulatory references. Mentioning Sarbanes-Oxley like it was a project you wrapped up in '04. Third, and this is a huge one, missing digital signals. Your resume is basically silent on tech. And finally, historical achievement framing, which is a fancy way of saying you're telling stories about the past instead of showing your value right now. And here is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Just look at the difference here. On the left, you've got 25 plus years of leadership. That's all about time. It tells a story of the past. But on the right, strategic capabilities in P&L management for a to-be revenue leader. That's about value. It's about scope. It's about impact. The first one basically screams veteran. The second one screams strategic powerhouse. Now, which one do you think that C-suite recruiter's algorithm is looking for? Exactly. Okay. So we've diagnosed the problem, right? Now let's get to the good stuff, the solution. The first big insight is a really powerful playbook for this. It's called the Strategic Authority Framework. So what is it? It's basically a method for showcasing your value based on 3 things: your strategic impact, your command of the regulatory landscape, and your readiness for the boardroom. And the most important part, you do all of this without ever leaning on how many years you've been doing it. It's all about the value you bring to the table today. Let's break that down. The first piece is all about strategic impact. This means you stop saying CFO with 25 years of experience. Instead, you flip the script and lead with the scale of your work. Just like that example we saw. Chief Financial Officer delivering strategic financial leadership for a $2 billion revenue technology leader. See, that's pure authority, no timeline needed. Okay, dimension 2 is absolutely crucial, especially in finance. You have to talk about regulatory authority, but without the dates. So you're not going to say, I implemented SOX compliance back in 2002. That's a huge red flag that just dates you. Instead, you position it as a current, holistic skill set. Something like comprehensive regulatory compliance expertise spanning SOX, Basel III, and SEC reporting. This makes you a current authority, not just someone who was there when it happened. And finally, the third dimension, you have to send clear signals that you are board ready. You have to remember, those ATS bots are programmed to look for governance keywords. So getting phrases like audit committee chair, risk committee, and public company board service into your resume is absolutely non-negotiable. This is how you prove you're not just a manager, you're ready for the C-suite and the boardroom. All right, let's move on to our second big insight. And honestly, this is where so many experienced leaders get tripped up. We have to talk about how you position your digital leadership. Because if your resume doesn't say anything about digital transformation or fintech, it is absolutely screaming that you're out of touch, even when you're not. You really need to think about your tech story in 3 distinct levels. First, there's modernizing the basics. Are you the one who led the charge on a big cloud ERP implementation? Second, there's using data to drive strategy. This is where you talk about bringing in predictive analytics to sharpen up your forecasting. And then there's the top tier, leading on actual fintech innovation. We're talking about things like blockchain or using APIs. You have to show where you play. And please, whatever you do, avoid these phrases. They are absolute resume killers. Saying I'm comfortable with technology just makes you sound like you're not a leader in it. And I can learn any platform. That basically translates to I'm not up to speed and you'll have to train me. You have to be specific and you have to be confident. No apologies. So, what should you be saying? Well, here you go. Think of this as your keyword cheat sheet. These are the exact terms the bots are programmed to find: digital transformation, fintech innovation, data analytics, cloud finance. You absolutely have to find ways to weave these into the descriptions of your accomplishments. This is how you speak their language. Okay, this brings us to our third and final insight, and it might just be the most important one of all. At the end of the day, finance is a numbers game, right? So your resume needs to reflect that. It's time to quantify your impact in a way that is simply impossible for anyone or any bot to ignore. And the best way to do this is with a simple little formula called the CAR method. It stands for challenge, action, and result. You start with a business problem. That's the challenge. Then you describe what you did, your strategic action, and you finish with the hard numbers, the quantified result. This framework will transform your accomplishments from vague historical anecdotes into powerful, data-backed proof of your value. And wow, this slide just says it all, doesn't it? Look at the wrong way. Managed budgets for over 2 decades. I mean, what does that even mean? It's completely empty. Now look at the CAR method in action. The challenge? 150 basis point disadvantage on cost of capital. The action? Restructured a $2 billion debt portfolio. And the result? Cut that cost by 150 basis points, saving the company $30 million a year. That right there is undeniable. That is pure strategic value in black and white. So where do you apply this powerful method? You want to focus on your biggest, most strategic contributions in these 4 key areas. Think about your wins in capital structure, like optimizing debt. Talk about your leadership in strategic transactions, like M&A. Show the hard results from your digital transformation projects, and highlight your successes in risk management. And for every single one of them, quantify it. Put a number on it. Okay, we have covered a ton of ground here, so let's wrap this up by putting it all together into a simple 5-step action plan you can literally start using the second this is over. Here is it, your 5-step plan. Number 1, go through your resume with a fine-tooth comb and just destroy any language that's based on timelines. Number 2, rebuild your regulatory section to showcase current expertise. 3, write out your digital leadership story complete with specific platforms and metrics. 4, take your top 5 achievements and rewrite every single one using that challenge action result method. And finally, number 5, sprinkle in those high-value C-suite and tech keywords we talked about. So, I want to leave you with this one final question to think about. Is your resume signaling history, or is it signaling strategic value? When that bot takes its 6 seconds to scan your entire career, what is it going to conclude? Does it see a history lesson, or does it see a strategic leader ready to drive value from day one? If you're not 100% sure what the answer is, a tool like Pass the Scan can actually analyze your resume for exactly these kinds of issues and show you where the gaps are. Look, your experience is your single greatest asset. It's time to make sure it's finally being seen that way.